Super Tuesday has come and gone, and Trump won in resounding fashion. It was awesome, but Nikki Haley did take on one state. We're talking about Vermont, so now she won DC and then Vermont. The thing about Vermont, though, is the primaries are open, so you've got Democrats and independents who probably did push her over. I tried looking at the stats to see kind of what Democrats, Republicans, and everyone voted for who. Couldn't quite find them, but I guarantee that's the reason that Nikki Haley did win Vermont. And now that she has announced that she is suspending her campaign, she's not living up to her promises. If you guys remember back in August of 2023, where everyone raised their hands on the debate stage whether or not they would support Donald Trump. After announcing that she is suspending her campaign, her tone was definitely a lot different. Let's check out the video of what she looked like back in August.
You all signed a pledge to support the eventual Republican nominee. If former President Trump is convicted in a court of law, would you still support him as your party's choice? Please raise your hand if you would.
I think the funniest thing about that video, and DeSantis got a lot of flack over this, is everyone's like, well, DeSantis took forever to raise his hand. The thing about DeSantis, though, is right after he dropped out, right after he suspended his campaign, guess what? He endorsed Trump. Nikki Haley, she pretty much just said, well, you know what? I just say that Trump should win over the voters who didn't support him in the primary. Doesn't sound like much of an endorsement to me. The reason that I titled this video the way that I did is because I truly do think that Nikki Haley is the sheep in wolf's clothing, where she is very similar to Mitt Romney. We cannot trust her. She is more progressive than she is conservative. Actually, she has very few to say about being a progressive. Most of her policies are always flip-flopping depending on how she thinks she's going to win the primary. It also says a lot, the fact that a lot of Nikki Haley's campaign was funded by so many Democrats. We look at Reid Hoffman, the co-founder of LinkedIn. You got Larry Fink meeting with her. BlackRock, we already know that BlackRock, with all of its ESG bullcrap, is not on our side. And you've got someone like Nikki Haley who is meeting with them. Nikki Haley, I think, will not be going away, whether it mean that her running for another seat in politics or whether it's going to be something more on the back end. She is not going away. She is a true progressive, and she is going to do what she can to run her agenda. Her continued support for pretty much having that open checkbook over to Ukraine makes no sense whatsoever unless potentially she benefits from it in one way or another. The whole Ukraine situation is horrible. I do not like it whatsoever, but I think that Trump's approach where we go about it and it's like, listen, you guys need to sit down at the table and negotiate this right now. There are people getting killed. There's all this money getting spent. The best thing to do is sit down with these two leaders and have them negotiate something, whereas Nikki Haley's just like, nah, let's just write them a check for how much you need, how much you want. We don't even care what you do with the money. We're just going to go ahead and write you a blank check. That was Nikki Haley's policy when it comes to Ukraine. Quick personal story for you guys. And so we went for a walk with our kids yesterday. We always end up at the park afterwards, sat down, and I had this not English speaking, so English was definitely a second language. Come to find out he was from Colombia, and he just kind of like laid into me with a few questions. He found out that I was in the military, and he's like, you know what I don't understand is why the United States is funding all these wars over in the Middle East and over in Ukraine and such. He's like, I'm from Colombia. This whole drug problem with all these drugs coming across the border can be solved like that. He says the cartels and everyone that are down there, and I'm sure that Colombia cartels are much different than say like the Mexican cartels, but he says it wouldn't take much to take these people down, and that would eliminate so many drugs that are coming across the border. He was going on about this for probably a good 30 minutes just talking about it. He's like, I do not get it. These are our kids here in the United States. Why would the United States not want to keep these drugs from coming across the border, which is killing so many of our kids here? Going back to Nikki Haley, though, and how we're kind of comparing her with Romney, is I do think that she is a threat to our conservative principles or the founding father documents that we have in place. She is a progressive. She knows she's a progressive, but she tries her best to mask it, and that's why we must be careful for whatever position she takes in the future, whether it be with a big corporation or trying to run for a Senate seat, House rep, doesn't matter. We need to make sure that we keep her out. Otherwise, we are going to get another Romney. And I don't know if you're similar to me, but Nikki Haley puts a bad taste in my mouth just like Romney does. Every time she talks, it just annoys the living crap out of me. It's all self-serving. You know that she is not a true conservative. She is saying that what she thinks she needs to say in order to get support from the Republican Party. Let me end this video with this note though. I wanted to congratulate the Trump team. You know, it's awesome that they are sweeping it. Let's hope he gets into office and does what he needs to do. I mean, it's going to be miserable if we have 4 more years of Biden. Let's hope that Trump does end up winning in November. I want to put a quick note on this though, because I feel like, you know, we are putting so much in the pot of Trump. And the reason why conservatives, Republicans keep on getting beat out so often, we do not have a long game, guys. This is a big reason why Trump, after 4 years, Biden was able to reverse so much in the first couple years. He was able to do so much damage. We do not have a long game. We cannot just solely rely on Trump to fix everything. Yes, if he gets in there, he's going to do a lot of damage to the deep state, to that swamp that is in Washington, D.C. We need to make sure that we are not putting these progressive Republicans back into office, because if we put true conservatives into those seats in Washington, D.C., we could have a huge ground game for the future to come. We need to see how we can reach out to these independent center-left voters. So it's like, listen, the conservative way is the best way. Those principles is what this country was founded on, and that's why this is the greatest nation this world has ever seen. Make sure that you are out there educating yourself on who you are going to be voting for this November, because we do want to make sure that we are putting true conservatives, even I'd go for some libertarians, into Washington, D.C. and not these progressives. All right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for following. Love you all, and stay free.